Welcome back to the channel. We got another Tim Pool video again. Amazon to replace 500k jobs with robots. And the one part I disagree here is the nightmare dystopia is here part, because I'll get into it as it goes along, but hit the like button, get subscribed, we'll get into it, and I'll get into my point on this part that I think is very false later on.
From the New York Times. Amazon plans to replace more than 500,000 jobs with robots. I'm excited for this because the end is nigh, my friends. Have you seen the video of the shipyards where all of the containers are being moved around by robots?
Yes, I have seen that. Yeah.
And that's what Amazon factories already are. The factories in China where there's no lights at all in them, they're just because the robots don't need light. They use.
You can save power by having all the lights off and just have the robots using infrared.
They have like radar and LiDAR and stuff, so there's no actual lights. You walk in, it's pitch black, and the robots don't care. They're doing their thing. It's happening now.
But my reasoning that I don't think it's a dystopian hellscape is due to the fact that Amazon's turnover rate of people, they are going to churn through every single person who wants to go work at a job like that in the US within the next 5 years. Every single person who is one of those people who would be like, yeah, I guess I'll go get the warehouse job at Amazon. Any of those people, they will have churned through all of them, and every single one will either be working at Amazon or have been hired by them and fired or quit since then. And Amazon, especially during peak seasons like Prime Day, holiday seasons, Black Friday, etc., and a few times around the year, when all of a sudden they get, a whole spike in orders. And then you hear the employees coming out of the woodwork. There's so much to do today. Look at my full van, as they're walking their phone up and down the van shelves going like, look at all this that I have to take and deliver today. And I'm just like, good. You got a lot to do. You got employment and you're making money for the day. What's the fucking problem? You signed up for this job. You wanted to do it. And it's you get to the point where I think Amazon, if they replace every job with robots that, is like one of these kind of lower level jobs, warehouse just moving stuff back and forth, or even eventually getting delivery via maybe some kind of drone system, or, maybe you have one guy driving a vehicle that's, set up to have like drone pop out of the roof. And then you just have, a few drones in the car to where the employee, he sets one up on the roof, he hooks the package in the van, and he ships it out. And, the vans become like little mini mobile distribution hubs to allow the drones to not have to fly so far and use so much battery, because eventually having to charge all those batteries is going to create a strain on the system instead of just using gas in the vehicles or the electric vehicles to the ones who have already moved to electric vehicles. And yeah, Amazon really does have an employee problem. So replacing all these jobs with robots is actually a really good thing, because I'm sure I'd say probably 70% of the audience watching right now definitely say it would prefer to continue to use Amazon and online shopping to have things delivered right to them quickly, efficiently, and hopefully at the best price. Because if we can not have to pay employees anymore to do half these jobs, if all of a sudden 500,000 jobs where, oops, wrong button. If you got 500,000 jobs, too many zeros. You got 500,000 jobs. Let's say each of those jobs makes, let's average it to 40,000. You're saving $20 billion in wages, which is an insane amount. And that's just, estimating the wage with, that's possibly what the employee will walk home with at the end of the day or at the end of the year. That's not even including any employee benefits. It's not even including any other potential health things, paid days off. It's like all of that will definitely decrease Amazon's overall spending, even though they will have to, at the start, buy all the robots one time and then just have a department that maintains them. But if the robots are all automatic, they all do everything they're supposed to perfectly throughout the days, day in, day out, you might not even have to pay someone to repair them often. You might just have a few spares that can auto turn on and detect and continue. Like, oh, a robot's stuck, I gotta go take over. And maybe the stuck robot pushes out the, if, excuse me, say he's under this cart here, like this one in the video, next, right there, yeah, under that cart with the wheels. Say that one gets stuck, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, I am done. I am low battery. I can't do anymore," or something's wrong and my motor stopped. And then you have this one here, the one that's closer in the frame. It rolls up and it just kind of pushes the other one out of the way, grabs its load, and continues. Like that would be kind of cool if they can make them do that, because it wouldn't be that hard. You would just have to have the robot to where, oh, my motor gave out, neutral, to where a robot can just come up and shove it out of the way or something like that. Or just to have one person monitoring all the robots and waiting for, oh, that little one's got a little error, let's go out and find it. And you got your phone or tablet or something to track it down in the warehouse, to walk and find it, pick it up, or, put a little broom in it or something to push it if you don't want to bend over. It probably some kind of cool tool that hooks into the center there. I don't know. I'm just spitballing, but yeah, this is definitely something for the better rather than something to worry about.
This story is crazy enough, but you combine these things, especially with
it's not that crazy. It is just the same as, a manufacturing hub jumping to automatic robotic presses and different things like that. Like Elon Musk at his Tesla factory. There's a specific video I might look up here to show you
collapse,
an example.
SNAP benefits, whatever it's going to be. Look, I'll just put it this way. You guys, we talked about the LSAT numbers. You saw the LSAT numbers?
Going up, right?
32,000, whereas like last year it was 18.
Right.
Which
people staying in school because they perceive the job market as being disaster.
Particularly law,
yeah,
because it's a fake job made up by people to argue with people.
Yeah, I have it muted because I don't need the audio for this, but this is what I'm talking about by using robots in manufacturing. Oh, let's slow this down. You've got this robot here, this orange arm that drops something into this press here. The press pops down, punches out some pieces, pa-chink. And then after it gets through there, another robot immediately is ready to reach in and grab the next one. And now think about it. If this was made by humans, without these robot arms in here, A, there would have to be more space between these presses for people to move, grab parts, and carry them from one to the other. And B, you would have to hire more people, pay more salaries, you might not be able to cram this production line in such a small area as they have. Like, this is one of the best examples of automated industrializing of things that I can come up with. Like, this is the best. Just having the full robot assembly doing everything up till this point, which is just crazy. Anyways, we'll get back to the main video today.
Amen.
Because I have yapped for almost 10 minutes and we're only 1 minute in.
But it's true. I'm not trying to disparage lawyers. I am a little bit, but when you go to school for for engineering, it's not an issue of staying in school. You're like, when I get out, I'm going to be an engineer in some kind of engineer. When you go to law, you're basically saying nothing is working in the economy, but the one thing that I can hope for is that I'll be able to argue with somebody and sue them or.
Yeah, kinda.
Well, like
they're replaced by AI.
And,
oh, bro.
Listen, this is not career recommendation or anything, but just as I see it, law, medicine, and finance, those are the things that a layperson can't really understand, and it's very intimidating for them to navigate. So I can understand why.
I mean, anybody has the ability to understand at least a basic level of finance. Maybe not, the deep levels of the stock market and what makes a company's number go up. But, at basic layman terms, just about anyone can understand can have financial literacy and learn.
Someone might see that as, safe career paths, but you can't. I don't know if you can bank on anything anymore.
You'd be safe for going into the trades. You'd be safe for just quitting school and becoming a plumber. I mean, honestly, you'd be at least in 2 years, you could be actually doing stuff, and those type of jobs are going to be the last ones taken away by robots.
I
But
think.
when is the last? What if that's only 10 years from now? We don't know.
No, I don't even think it's that. Look, if they allow the welfare benefits to end on the 1st, we are talking about a nuclear bomb on the economy and in politics. It cannot happen. If it happens, okay, I'm saying this. When they warn, maybe, hey, you may not get your benefits, that's a big difference. Because if, come the 1st, Trump goes, look, we found funds, we pulled it, the government's not opening, but we're fine. Then it's like, yeah, okay, it was a threat. But if actually 42 million people do not get money and they cannot buy food, I don't know how that is going to change the face of this nation. There are two things that drive electoral systems.
Let's see. Did we wind up losing all the SNAP benefits in the shutdown? A pair of federal judges ruled Friday that the Trump administration must tap into a contingency fund to continue making payments for food stamps under supplemental nutrition to SNAP benefits, which is set to have its funding expire yesterday. It didn't. The president and the administration would be able to provide funding for SNAP if we're given the appropriate legal direction by the court. In a post on Truth Social last night, or 2 nights ago, Trump said the Senate should do away with the 60-vote threshold needed to advance legislation, which would allow Republicans to fund the government. I mean, yeah, obviously that would be a great thing, but I'm guessing Democrats said no. Because Trump wants it, so they don't. So annoying that that's all the Democrats have been dropped down to today. But yeah, at this point, the government has been shut down for 31 days and 13 hours, which is just insane to me. To how we can have a functional country that has a shutdown government where our president is, he's just like, I tried everything to make a deal with these guys. I made a deal with freaking other countries. We've got many trade deals that he created. He made a deal with fucking Hamas terrorists. And Democrats won't even make a fucking deal. That's embarrassing for Democrats. They should be far more embarrassed by that fact than just that they're not going to be able to get their money for healthcare for illegals, because I'm at the last straw on that. They need to just give that dream up, help get rid of all the illegals, and start following the country's laws.
Usually it's the economy, but only when things are safe. Security is next, but there is another indicator of revolution and civil war, and that is when food is hard to come by. And with the Arab Spring, one of the key indicators of massive revolution across the Arabic world in North Africa, particularly, was that food prices had become too high. It kicked off with, I believe, Mohammed Bouazizi was his name. He was a fruit cart salesman in Tunisia.
That's right.
And the police came and said, you can't sell fruit. And he goes, it's the only thing I can do to make money. They shut him down. So he went in front of City Hall and immolated himself. And then everybody snapped because they were feeling the same pressures and the same heat. What's going to happen to this country when you have terrorism, a weak economy, high prices, and 42 million people who can't afford food?
Well, everything will turn out fine.
Trump can then invoke the Insurrection Act and take over anything he wants.
Well, and you mentioned earlier the rural areas. Rural areas actually have rural households specifically have a far higher participation in SNAP benefits and these sorts of things. So it'll compound.
Yeah, and I don't mind if SNAP benefits get shut off, simply for the fact that earlier this year I quite needed them. I broke my femur and couldn't even stand up on my own. I couldn't go to work. I couldn't do anything. I applied for SNAP benefits for temporary time, and they denied me. I made $0 and they denied me. I'm like, what the fuck? You want me to starve? They were like, yeah, you can go to food banks. And I'm like, bitch, I can't even fucking stand. What are you talking about?
You have two issues now compounding. Is A, you're going to have a migration of people from rural areas into the urban areas looking, because that's where the institutions are going to be that distribute food. And then B, the farms that do exist in the rural areas, their labor force gets cut out from under them, because a lot of those people that are on those...
I guess I got denied benefits because I have the wrong last name and it's not Jose.
SNAP benefits are working on the farms and these sorts of things. So then there's going to be a shortage of labor on the farms, and then now the farms are going to have less productivity. So everything is just...
Oh my gosh, I hate when people try to use with deportation, there's going to be a shortage of labor on farms. It's like no farmer is going to let his crop just not get harvested. He's going to find someone to come harvest it. He might have to pay them a living fucking wage. Oh my god, he has to pay them money. Like, okay, be a normal boss.
Compound, the rural areas are going to completely rot out. The area is going to be pulled. The bottom's going to be pulled out from on. It already has in a lot of ways. And then one of the cities.
This
and then
dude's
the cities
wrong.
Will be out of food because these farms are going to have labor shortages.
There will never be a labor shortage on a farm. There might be a few less workers than you prefer, but there will never be just a shortage, and you just don't have workers because there's always somebody you can have work. You give the right amount of money, the right amount of income for anybody, and they'll do just about anything. It might take a lot higher of a number for some than others, but that is why there's an illegal immigration problem. Like, we shouldn't be going, but removing the illegals gets rid of our food supply because we have a whole bunch of illegals picking our food. Okay, well, how about we have Americans pick the food for American wages, because we're already paying out the ass at the grocery store on most items. A handful of things have gone down this year, but for most items, they are still overall inflation up. And at one point, that that $2 hot dog you get is going to be $20, and all of a sudden, to get everything beyond that, that's going to create a much larger problem later on.
The problem with that, though, is that farms are going to...
I'm getting distracted, because so we're going to continue.
That too. And then generated food, though.
And then they're going to take all the water so the data centers can gargle them up.
The data centers can just use the salt water.
Yes. People are already complaining about higher water bills and electricity bills because they're funding the data centers in the area.
We got our electric... So at the old studio... Our electricity bill's been largely just nothing because we left. And then we got the bill for it, I think it was like a couple months ago. And when I saw the bill, I got really angry because I'm like, whoa, someone's pulling some BS. Right. Somebody plugged in a Bitcoin mining rig at our property. No, it's the price of electricity is skyrocketing because of the high demand from data centers, but also probably Bitcoin mining as well, just in general.
I put my heat on like last week, and then the electric company just sent me a loan application.
That's a good one. And I mean, in the winter, for me, I just run my computer a little more often because it's got powerful components that throw off heat, and I don't really have to turn on the heat in my room. It's quite nice.
You're gonna need this.
We weren't smart enough.
The summer's a little sucky, but
fourth generation nuclear, and we just don't have enough. Don't have enough power.
New York State, they're shutting down nuclear reactors.
Yeah, that's the most annoying thing when I hear, they're shutting down another nuclear power plant. And it's like, why? Do you want higher electric costs? Do you want things to be expensive and pollutive? Like, nuclear power is the cleanest energy. The smoke billowing out of the towers is just steam. It is just water that has boiled. That's it. It's no different than if you put a pot on a stove and you turned on the heat to high and you let it boil. You're making the same reaction there, except you're using a stovetop to heat it up, and the water in a reactor is being heated by, hot uranium rods, or tungsten rods, I believe is what they are.
So one thing we haven't talked about, too, though, is where we're saying, like, if benefits end in November...
You mean in 4 days?
In 4 days, right. There will be some people who will reprioritize what finances they do have. Food will still be a priority over rent because it takes you longer to get evicted than it does for you.
Oh yeah, people definitely will choose to put food on their table or probably waste money going out to eat at restaurants and whatnot instead of just going to a grocery store and then cooking at home, because that's so difficult in today. I don't know why so many people think that they can just spend thousands a month eating out.
To starve. Sure. So if people need to have a fixed amount of money
And yeah, all the people on SNAP benefits, I have not seen a single person complaining about them potentially getting cut off that hasn't been extremely obese. Like, there is a massive problem with food stamps giving too much to people or not being too allowant on certain things. Food stamps should be an extremely restrictive, budget. You shouldn't be able to just buy junk food. You should be required to go buy ingredients and actually cook That's what it should cover. It shouldn't be able to just to buy anything in the grocery store. You should just have to be buying ingredients, having to cook. You know, you have to go buy your own proteins. You have to go buy your own vegetables, fruits, etc., grains, all that. Hit every food group, but you know, maybe you have to just cut the snacks or work a job to buy your snacks. Crazy concept.
Choose between rent and food, still going to choose food rather. Well, we got rent, but we've got nothing to eat. So, you know, the landlords and the mortgage industry is going to have some perturbations there.
Or cannibalism.
Oof.
Oh, in Haiti.
We do have a lot of Haitians.
I'm telling you guys right now. I said it before. I'll say it again. This is a fact. If social order really did break down, I mean, like the power turned off, no one knew what to do. You'd have like 3 days before people in New York were drinking each other's blood.
Oh, 100%. New York, California, Chicago, those would definitely be the 3 states to get as far away from if the world collapses. You won't want to be anywhere near them. Those 3 areas will just have such a large quantity of crime and a mass increase in everyone just fucking everything up.
You think I'm exaggerating?
Dude, you have like 3 minutes.
On Manhattan?
And you may want to just steer clear of the entire state of Florida. I usually talk great up about Florida because of, you know, the things they do in their state. The people they have running that state are great. DeSantis is awesome. Sheriff Grady of their police force, he's the best. I gotta say, I don't think there's a sheriff in the nation who does a better job.
On Manhattan, I believe you have about 2 million people. If the water stopped flowing, you'd see a mass outmigration flooding into outer areas as people become desperate, look for food. We are not dealing with a nation of what I think what was it during the American Revolution was like 2.5 million?
Yeah.
Is how many people it was? Yeah. Let's someone can you search that for me and get the number? I believe that the original 13 colonies had only a few million people. In the event, there was
2.6, yeah.
2.6. If you had
Nice. He
an
was
economic
pretty
collapse
accurate.
back then, what would you do? You'd wander into the wilderness, find a creek, and drink from it.
That's right.
You'd build a little mud hut. That's impossible right now. You've got about 8.8 million, I think the number is, in the New York metro. Manhattan Island alone is around 2 million. If the power and the water is gone, food spoils within days. Seriously,
Yep.
bro, my strawberries, I buy them, I come
Hey, they'd be able to go find a Twinkie on any shelf that'll live through the apocalypse.
home. I go to the supermarket, I look at the strawberries, they look great. As soon as I get home, I pull it out, all mold. Just
Yeah.
instantly, like, switch was flicked. Food's going to spoil. There's going to be some canned goods. What are people going to do? Well, how do you deal with 8.8 million people spreading out into the outer areas trying to find food? Plumbing system's not working. Nowhere to put their poop. Nowhere to find food. They're going to be
Those people who live off the grids are going to feel like big geniuses all of a sudden. They're going to actually have to protect their homesteads. Like, some of those guys will have full off-grid setups where they have their own water system, they have solar panels, and they got a big battery backup unit, and they'll be living like normal. They won't even notice that society has collapsed. It'll be kind of funny seeing the 2 differences. I mean, it'll be sucky because society collapsed, but it'll be interesting and funny to watch the 2 groups. One group who's like, yeah, I'm homesteading, I'm being by myself, I power everything for me. Oh, the nation collapsed? And none of you guys figured out how to do anything anymore? Sucks to suck.
ransacking houses. They're going to be stealing what they can. It is going to get apocalyptic very, very quickly. I don't know what anyone thinks is going to happen when you have 8.8.
I mean, everybody when COVID first broke out thought that was going to be super apocalyptic, that, you know, no one was going to be going anywhere. The economy would just sink into the toilet and just continue further falling while everybody started dying off. And, like, that was blown way out of proportion at that point, I will say. Because if you were under the age of 50, you had almost nothing to worry about unless you were immune compromised. Which, in that case, you already were worried.
Million people in one hyper-condensed area. Many are going to stay, and they're going to be like, nah, nothing ever bad happens. The government will take care of me. And then what happens when they don't have water for 2 days and all the water and all the drinks are gone from all the bodegas? Because let's be real, they're not going to get restocked.
Oh, there's a lot of people who will just immediately die because they don't know. They don't know how to do things without everything that has been handed to them, the services they take for granted day in, day out. And like, that was blown way out of proportion at that point, I will say. Because if you were under the age of 50, you had almost nothing to worry about unless you were immune compromised. Which in that case, you already were worried. And like, that was blown way out of proportion at that point, I will say. Because if you were under the age of 50, you had almost nothing to worry about unless you were immune compromised. Which in that case, you already were worried. they're going to turn on their faucet and nothing's going to come out. They're going to flip the light switch and nothing's going to turn on. And they're going to be like, everything's broken and I can't even Google why I can't do these things.
I'm talking about the event of total social breakdown. They will start drinking each other's blood.
But the buses will go faster.
They'll speed up as
Nope, I think they will all stop because there will be cars flooding the streets like zombie apocalypse worlds, and their buses will not be able to even get through. They'll be slower and more late than ever. The subways, however, those might just become a breeding ground of I don't know. It won't be great. Underground definitely will be places some people go to take shelter because at least under there you're out of the elements to an extent.
they flee the city with one rogue bus driver like, we gotta get out of here.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think AOC will
If you
take
get out
time
quick
to,
enough. No. She'll be one of the first to die. She will either be targeted by people who are against her or have people who were for her begging her for so much stuff that is eventually when she says no, they'll turn on her.
invoke order upon her constituents.
AOC will be in a jet to Mount Weather, where she will be treated like a
She won't make it to the jet. The jet won't work.
queen.
The jet won't be allowed to take off, and her pilot will not do it unless the pilot gets some kind of compensation, because you know her ass is too stupid to fly the jet herself.
Underground for the next 30 years, hiding from the people she betrayed.
She is a bartender, so if we're drinking blood, a Bloody Mary. Could
Wow.
That's a good one. That's a good
There you
one.
go.
So people in New York don't know where water comes from.
No.
We have, this is crazy. Go back several hundred years, and people in New York generally had an idea of where their water was coming from. Now they don't.
Now they don't.
They just made huge new pipes for where the water comes from New York City. It goes all the way up to the upstate
There's
New York.
this video from Vice like 15 years ago where a guy there's a stream in New York that's they put a building over. The stream is still there, but it's covered, and there's a wall. And if you jump over the
I mean, if you want my favorite fun fact about water and you want to know where some of it comes from, if you ever drink Dasani water, Dasani is owned by Coca-Cola, and for parts of the U.S., they do just take it from different rivers in areas and filter it for your water. So certain areas, like for example, the Midwest, Midwest Northeast area, your Dasani water probably comes out of the Detroit River and is just simply filtered Detroit River water. Have fun with that fact.
wall, there's a crack between the building and the wall that goes under the building, where there's a natural creek still there. And then he like put cameras on. It's a super old video, but he was like, this is where a lot of like the water would flow through New York. Now, no one has any idea. They've covered it all up and they're pumping the water in. What happens if the water stops flowing? Chicago's the same way. You drink Lake Michigan water, sure, you're going to get real sick. And people don't even know how to treat water anymore either.
Yep.
Like people, we
There were, certain things like surviving on a deserted island. Mythbusters did a few things where they had a few like materials, like you got shipwrecked, and one of the materials they had like an unlimited supply of to that, a deserted island could have one thing trope, duct tape, but they also had like little containers of like plastic saran wrap. So they were able to take the duct tape and put water beneath an area to let the saran wrap help heat up the water to where the moisture would evaporate, hit the saran wrap, and then it would run off into a little cup, and then they would actually have clean filtered water done through evaporation, and that at least got it drinkable to where you weren't gonna get sick.
have developed ourselves out of our ability to survive without these tools that we've made.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you're forced to rely on the material world, whereas we used to have nature.
Yeah.
Nature's dead.
Yeah, like I grew up in Memphis, and people there, every city says this, but they're like, we were voted the best tap water in America. And then you go, why is that? And they say, well, it comes from aquifers. And I'm like,
Yeah, this one right here, where they've got this plastic going. They used the plastic that came on the outside of the duct tape there. And yeah, this was probably one of my more memorable episodes that they did, where eventually they found fresh water flowing. But before they got that, they tried this spot where they just put a bunch of water in this pit, and they let it evaporate up just slowly, where it would collect on the tarp, and they'd had a spot where it just ran off. And yeah, it was a pretty ingenious way to survive and have fresh water to drink.
Yeah.
It was great.
Sounds good.
We're just so removed from the processes that yeah.
So I don't know, when I've talked to people about all these jobs being lost, the response I get is, yeah, but they'll replace it with robots. And I'm like, guys, they're not going to replace your customers with robots. So when we talk about population collapse, what there's going to be a Taco.
Yeah, I do think that there are certain jobs that should not be replaced with robots, but anything delivered, anything warehouse where you're just grabbing items and moving them, a robot can easily do that job and the robot can run 24/7, 365 without breaks, without vacations, with minimal maintenance, and a human can't do that. We have to sleep, we have to rest, we have lives to live. But a robot, it can just keep going and going and going and going and going. So that's the greatest part of it, to where, delivery and warehouse jobs easily could be swapped out.
Bell, and so some guy owns a chain of Taco Bell, is a franchisee owner. He goes, we can't afford, we're losing sales, so we're going to save money by replacing all of our staff with robots.
Yep, we'll replace the staff with robots. Robots will cook all the food. People order in a kiosk like they do, and maybe you'll have like one manager running the restaurant overall.
He does. Then
that's what I'd do
to the government,
or rather, I'd have two people in store, so that the one person doesn't go crazy with a bunch of robots. Because I could totally see if all your coworkers at a job are robots, like actual robots, and you can't really give them orders, you don't have anyone to talk to throughout your day, you might go a little crazy.
I have this automated Taco Bell store, but we're collapsing. We're going to go out of business. The economy is terrible. So the government says, we're going to create a bunch of robots to go and buy products from you. And then it's just a bunch of robots buying Taco Bell, throwing it in the garbage.
Well, here's the optimistic.
Wait, I'm sorry. Alien.
No, all of a sudden we would have to be inclusive to the robots. Taco Bell would have to sell the oil taco so that they can just dump it down their chute. They'd have to have an oil on the fountain machine. Instead of giving them caffeine, you'd give them a new battery.
Aliens come to Earth. There's no people anywhere. It's just robots buying food and throwing it away. Buying food from each other.
Any complex economic system that you've got established, which we have, can only handle change.
I do think there's a lot of jobs and a lot of positions, though, that could be swapped out for robots, and it would actually improve the whole situation, interaction between people buying like certain things. Like any fast food restaurant, basically any position can almost already be automated with a robot. There's very few left that can't be.
At a certain rate.
Yeah.
And so the problem we're coming at is the shocks to the economy are exceeding the rate at which the change can be absorbed into the system and adaptations can be made. So we can get to a different state of the economy, but we can't do it in a telescope compact time frame. And that's really what we're up against. That's the difficulty.
Well, and the thing is, like, our economy has been hit with multiple new inventions over the past several decades that would and should take any society decades to adjust to by themselves. Going from radio to television to the internet. And we're not even talking about.
Yeah, going from television to the internet was probably one of the biggest technological jumps and advancements that we ever did. Like, getting the radio was huge, because then now you have instant communication at a much longer range to a lot more people all at once, instead of phone call or telegram. And then you got to send something, and it goes one person to one person. I mean, just look back at old phone systems, like the old switchboards that they used to actually have to connect a wire to you and connect your wire over to there. And yeah, they used to just have armies of usually women, because that was one of the jobs that a woman could have back then. Times have changed, and that was one of their jobs that they would do, that they'd just be running the switchboards all day, connecting people to calls. And it's where some of those old dial tones came from, where it was like, oh yes, this is literally them connecting you over to the other system.
Out, the advancements that have been made in medicine or food production or anything like that. So yeah, we've been taking on a lot of change very, very quickly.
So yeah, as robots and AI arise into our workforces, some things will be lost. I guarantee you, factories that use robots don't have nearly as many employees as they used to have. And that's a good thing for, keeping cost of goods down, keeping cost of businesses down, and allowing, people to sell the products and not have to sell a position in their business that they now also have to pay that person and keep, regularly, keep up with everything.
There's a very real question of whether society can sustain it. Yeah. If I were to be a very out to lunch optimist, here's what I would say. I go, well, here's the good news. We're talking about the population aging up. Well, guess what?
And also, with the population aging up, if we have a shortage of, people not having babies, there's going to be a labor shortage in the future where we're just not going to have enough people unless we bring a bunch in and hope they assimilate and join our cultures to actually serve the population itself. Countries will just all around die and just have to stop existing and turn into another country's workforce at that rate if, jobs aren't replaced in this manner.
The robots are going to take care of them since there won't be enough young people to do it.
It's going to be far from a utopia, but it's not going to be a dystopia.
Got the technological infrastructure for that. Here's the problem. Ultimately, that technology is going to be controlled by people. People don't always act in the best interest of other people, especially when they're in a position to really leverage their...
That's why on the global stage, for countries that are quote-unquote the global superpower, China is very high on that list of a country that does not care for others, and they're very famous for that, especially with their levels of pollution and emissions coming out of that country alone. That is how you know China cannot become the global superpower militarily and manufacturing. They have one of those, but as the United States, we have the other one as the military, which right now, I would say, if everything keeps going, we will maintain that lead and maybe even take back some of the manufacturing and at least catch up, because we are a far behind China in the manufacturing capabilities.
Power to get what they want from them. And even if they do, even if we end up in like a miracle scenario where everything goes perfectly and the people who run these AI companies use the technology for noble reasons to help others, well, when those others end up with abundance and don't have to work, they're all going to end up falling apart.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
It's like certain wealthy families around the country where, Generation 1 built the wealth and built the great business and was known for being good. Generation 2 kind of squandered some of it. And now we got down to the third generation who is growing up not knowing struggle. They don't know what struggle is. They never wondered where their next meal was coming from. They never wondered if the thing they wanted for Christmas was going to be under the tree. They just knew it was there. Those types of families become massively problematic.
You get this thing now where, like, you're talking about what these new technologies hitting the market is every single time, like, the computer, the personal computer, and then everyone's like,
yeah,
great.
The computer's a big one.
Labor retracts a little bit, so my wages will go up. Yeah, about.
We got to buy all the computers, so the wages don't go up as much as you think. But also because you can do twice as much work now, we're going to fire Fred over there, and we're going to pay you about 20% more than what we paid Fred, or than what we were paying because we don't have Fred anymore, and some else of his salary is going to be dispersed amongst the rest of you. But with the computer, you're going to be able to work twice as quickly, so maybe we'll even be able to bump your salary up more in the future.
We just brought in 20 million immigrants in the last 5 years. You're like, so every time.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
I want to jump to this next story. Before we do, I didn't think I'd have to do this, but I should. It looks like we're about to sell out of all the ports. So
Sweet.
I shouted out the new
Let's
boonies.
jump beyond
Didn't
the
realize
boards.
it was going to sell this.
Boonie shortage.
Yeah,
That's
no
when the
skate
knives
folks.
come
Bad,
out.
dude. I don't know.
Yeah, if you thought
Oh.
a food shortage caused
Oh, okay.
desperation, wait till you see a boonie shortage.
Yeah, no
That's when the
skate
knives come out.
That could be the barter economy, though, because I mean, imagine what the gold serialized board will trade for in terms of potatoes or
It's going to be
rice.
like 10 years from now.
I
and there's gonna
wonder. I smell chicken. I wonder if my brother brought me lunch or if he only got it for himself. Probably the second.
be like a guy, and he's just for
It'd be
some
nice
reason
if
he's
he
the
got me
king
some.
of like a 3-state region. And they're like, why? And he goes, because I have the greatest wealth. And he points to
But
a
it
Tim
smells
Pool
like
serialized
chicken.
number 1, and they're like, whoa! Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL.
All right, that was a great one. I did yap quite a bit throughout that one, so if you made it all the way in, do me a favor and subscribe, smash the like button if you have not done so already, and even leave me a comment letting me know any recommendations of channels or videos you would like to see in the future. Anyways, have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow morning.